go to yourdomain.com/whatever the subdomain is. And since they're the same folder, you can usually get to your website that way while DNS propagates. DNS unfortunately takes a while to propagate or get across the internet so that everyone knows how to find a domain name. So www is simply a subdomain of the main domain. So for most websites, if you go to the www or you omit it, it's usually the same website. And not really much happens from it. With things such as custom subdomains like the one I just created, search engine optimization says that you should choose either the end, so weblek.famousville.com or famousville.com/weblek, and stick with it. Don't switch back and forth. So make all your links one way or the other, because that will affect how high you actually go into Google search rankings. So you always want to stick with one thing and go with it, and don't change it after you've made that decision up front. So now the next thing we want to do is create a web page. So once again, I'm probably going to break a lot of rules, but I am going to go and get a free editor called Putty, which is an SSH client for Windows. And I just installed Windows yesterday on this, so I'm still not really ready for it yet. So basically, I'm going to connect to my server via SSH. This is a way to connect to your server via command line. And of course, .org doesn't exist. So, and to avoid the password problem, I'll just log in through again. Then there's a command if you're in as the server's administrator called su, to where you can become whatever you want. Okay, so I just did something called ls. Hopefully you can see this, if not, I'll read it off. I did ls. So that means list your directory, and it has lots of directories here. The one I'm concerned about is public HTML, like I said before. So if we go into public HTML using CD, and once again, the reason why I could just jump and have it fill in everything for me was I started typing what I thought was going to be, and I hit tab. And that's called tab completion links terminal. Then I'm going to also change directory to web lecture. And now we're in the directory that the website's in. Finally, what we're going to do is Vim, because I'm a Vim person, we're going to go to index.html. Now this brings up a nice little text editor, nothing too fancy. What we're going to do is just steal the code from the PowerPoint. I'm too lazy to rewrite it. And hopefully, with any luck, when we copy paste it, we won't get those nasty character problems that I mentioned. Then we'll save it and show you what the website actually might look like. So I just type it in to Vim. I'm going to get rid of the comments because Vim didn't quite get them. And then I'm just going to write out the file so it's available on the website. I'll refresh, and now we have the website as we had on the lecture slides. And if you click on the slide location, right now it just forwards onto the website where the lecture slides are. Just for fun. So moving on. As you can probably tell, I don't use PowerPoint often either. So we just did a live demo of it. So now let's go into a little bit of DNS, a little bit of hosting, which I already covered in some detail. Then we'll be done hopefully. So first off, enabling your VP web space. This nasty URL here is where you would go to do it. Click it, type in your username and password in PB. says enabled, yep, and then public HTML shows up on your S drive if you're a public site, or if you're on UB Unix, it's someplace in there too. I think it's just / public HTML. But I might be wrong there. All your web files will go into public HTML, and access to it will also be there. SFTP is the only way that you can access your web space now. UB got rid of FTP, which is good. SFTP is a secure protocol. FTP, other people can eavesdrop easily on your communication. They can see all your files. So if you were uploading a PHP script that had, let's say, your MySQL login information, so that your website could use a MySQL database, somebody can take that from you and gain access and completely ruin your entire night, as I've had happen to me. Comments about your web space? PHP will only work if you're a club. UP disables PHP for normal students because they host buffalo.edu on the same server. No idea why, but that's what they do. It's been there for probably 30 years now, I'm guessing, by the speed of it, and they refuse to upgrade, they refuse to change. That's why the UB IEEE Club tried getting off that server. I think they're in the process of it still. But Oracle is the database for UB. Oracle to MySQL is kind of like Keys database maybe. Oracle is a monster. It's really efficient. It's really great. The problem is it costs a lot of money. But UB has Oracle, and I've never really used Oracle. WordPress, which is a very popular blogging software and content management system, which I hope to demo, is a MySQL thing. So we'll use MySQL for most of this. And I think I covered everything. So, solution 1, get CSE web space. Ken Smith runs it, so we know that it's good. Has the latest version of PHP, which supports garbage collection. It has everything including the kitchen sink, I like to joke. It's very forgiving, unlike older versions. And I'm not sure if a non-CSE student can get it, but you can try cseconsult@buffalo.edu as an email, and that would show up at www.csc.buffalo.edu. SINS also has it for the engineering students. I'm not sure what their email is. It might be just consult@sins.buffalo.edu. Solution 2, get real web hosting. cPanel is a great platform to host on. And cPanel will scale your website up to probably, I want to say 10,000 to 15,000 hits per month before you'll have to look into something maybe a little bit better like a dedicated server or virtual private server. Shared hosting costs about $20 to $160 a year, depending on who you go with. Bluehost is right in the middle, and they're really good. My hosting company is Madhouse, madhouse.us. Just a little plug. You can always email me if you want to host with me. I've hosted sites that get a couple million hits per month, so I'm used to it. Here's a bunch of top-level domains. .com is the most common, .net, .org, etc. You need to go to a register to register a domain name that's real. So if you want your .com, you gotta go to somebody like GoDaddy.com. Once again, GoDaddy is great for domains, shitty for hosting. And pardon my French. So FX Domains is the one I use. Typically, you pay $10 a year for any of these except for the .edu and .gov, because those kind of require documentation that you're an entity that qualifies for it. I've seen people get .ch and do creative things with domains that I would never think about doing. Corporation owners typically get copyrights on stuff and trademarks and that stuff. RetreadProducts.com, one of my clients has it. So anytime the domain is attempting to be registered, it's like that. They're notified. Kind of annoying, but it's out there. Bit about registers. If you register, there's two ways to register. The cheap way, where your private information goes to something like whois.net, and a private register, which costs about $10 to $20 a year more, and a big company puts their registration on instead. So your identity is still hidden. My information is public. If you do a whois on any of my websites, you'll get my real information. I've never gotten a phone call, never gotten an email, never gotten anything from it, so I would say public is fairly safe. Typically, okay, so now we're getting into DNS. At the register, you're going to be asked to enter two name servers. Name servers are DNS servers, or domain name service servers, that will provide services of converting your domain name, like example.com, into an IP address. Typically, hosts, especially cPanel hosts, will give you two name servers. MadHouse has ns1.madhouse.us and ns2.madhouse.us. And those servers become the authorities for your domain, and they'll do all the resolving, and they go worldwide, and everyone knows about them. So that's pretty much this slide. In dedicated hosting, you can specify your own name servers at yourdomain.com. Even reseller hosting will let you do that nowadays. And then subdomains, like we just created WebLac. Most hosts will make example.com and www.example.com point to the same thing. That there's only exception that won't hurt your SEO if you allow them both and you publish them both interchangeably. SEO means search engine optimization. Directory and directory.example.com, that's the WebLac example that I showed earlier. So those will point to the same physical directory. Both are acceptable, but for search engine optimization reasons that push your search engine, your site up to the top of your results, always a great idea to choose one and stick with it. So that's it for this lecture. Next time, I'm going to get really in-depth into control panels and how to use them, how to get your website rolling, cPanel, Flask, all that stuff. I'll talk a little bit about server uptime. Definitely going to do some Photoshop next time and bring in HTML. And the third lecture will be PHP and WordPress and hopefully other things. So questions?
Put up the link to those, because I saw we can have access to those slides, right?
Sure.